Good morning children, welcome to AIMS India's online classes. This is biology session. You are watching challenges in improving agricultural products part 3. So, we are discussing about the irrigation. Okay. What is irrigation children? The process of supplying water artificially to the crop plants growing in the field at regular intervals is called irrigation. Okay. So, there are several factors controlling the irrigation such as nature of crops, nature of soil, climatic factors. There are different systems of irrigation, a canal system, drip irrigation, okay, river lift systems, tanks. Okay. So many methods are there, the traditional methods and the modern methods. Okay. So, are you ready children? Let us discuss more about these methods of irrigation and the process of irrigation, advantages of irrigation. So, to understand, let us start with an activity. Make a block diagram of irrigation of water from major water sources in your village. Okay. A block diagram you can prepare. So, rainwater harvesting, water tanks. Okay. So, you track a diagram showing the source of water and the irrigation system, its advantages, its factors and all those things covering. So, draw the route map of Jawahar and Lal Bahadur canals of Nagarjuna Sagar in Andhra Pradesh map. Okay, now come to plant nutrients. This activity related to plant nutrients. Just as we need different kinds of nutritious food, plants also require different kinds of nutrients. So, you know that the plants absorb the carbon dioxide from the air and water from the soil and produce the carbon dioxide with the help of sunlight during the process of photosynthesis. The plants also absorb the different kinds of mineral salts from the soil in addition to water. Among these salts, the plants require large quantities. Okay. So, those large quantities we can classify them into macronutrients and micronutrients, which are required in large quantities. They are called macronutrients. For example, the plants need nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium, NPK. These and their salts in large quantities. Okay. These are the elements that are required by the plants in large quantities. They are called macro. When used as a prefix denotes large. Macro means large. Okay. Nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, calcium, magnesium and sulfur, these are required in large quantities. So, these are called macronutrients. Some nutrients are necessary for plants in small quantities. So, these are called micronutrients. So, when we add this prefix micro represents the small quantities. Okay, example, iron, manganese, boron, zinc, copper, molybdenum, chlorine, etc. These are called micronutrients. Okay. These salts are obtained from the soil. So, when we grow a crop, the plants absorb some salts from the soil. So, here one table is given which shows the amounts of nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. These are called the essential elements. These salts are absorbed from the soil by the different crops. So, here the crop name rice, wheat, millet, corn, sugarcane, groundnut, and the yield per hectare 2200, 1568, 1792, 2016, the 67,200, 1904. Okay. These are the yield per hectare. Then how much nitrogen required, phosphorus required, potassium required for rice 34, 22, 67, for wheat 56, 22, 67, for millet 56, 15, 146. Potassium is more required for the millets. Okay. Then corn 36, 20, 39. For sugarcane 20, 17, 202. Potassium required more. The groundnut 78, 22, 45. Nitrogen requirement. Okay. So this is activity based, means already experiments conducted and they made this chart, okay, by the agricultural officers. So every time any of these crops are sown in a field, they observe these amounts of nutrients. Okay, the chart shows that the particular crop when you sow in the soil, they observe those particular nutrients from the soil. So soil nutrients, if a field is cultivated for many years, what would happen to the nutrient content of the soil? Definitely the nutrient content of the soil will decrease. How does the soil get back or replenish these nutrients? So this is the question. So either the soil get back its nutrients by natural process, by the putrefaction of the substances by the natural bacteria and so other saprophytic organisms, or by adding manually. Okay. So let us examine this question in more detail. So the nutrients present in the soil are consumed by the plants and are replenished or returned to the soil in many different ways. In nature, the continuous process of death and decay add the nutrients to the soil. The process is too slow to be commercially useful. Okay, okay, no doubt. So the natural process of the death and decay of organisms will add nutrients, but it is a time consuming process. So another method called rotation of crops, rotating crops, adding the organic manure or chemical fertilizers etc. are man-made process. Okay. These are some of the methods which we are following now to add the nutrients, to replenish the soil with the nutrients, to enrich the soil with nutrients, rotation of the crops, because all crops in the previous chart itself we have seen, some of the crop is utilizing nitrogen more, some of the crop is utilizing sugarcane, for example sugarcane it is using potassium more. Okay. So such type of crop rotation methods can help to replenish the nutrients. Okay. Crop rotation. What is crop rotation and how this crop rotation method helps in replenishing the nutrients? Okay. Let us study. Usually the farmers do not grow only one crop in a field. So different crops are grown in different seasons. Seasonal crops can be grown in the field. It has been seen that the cereal crops take a lot of nutrients from the soil. Okay, rice, wheat, the food crops, grain crops. Okay. Then legumes are different. So these legumes are the crops which add nutrients to the soil. So while they do not take nutrients from the soil, they also provide some nutrients to it, these legumes. Okay. Leguminaceae family. The growing leguminous crops result in an increase in the quantity of nitrogenous salts in the soil. So thus to grow a leguminous crop between the cereal crops is beneficial either by alternating cropping system or by mixed cropping. Okay. Nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium, these are the important nutrients, essential nutrients required by any crop plant. Okay. So let us observe the following table. So the table showing nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium and its uses. So nitrogen, its requirement is for the formation of new leaves, new flowers, and the growth of the flowers depends upon the nitrogen availability. Phosphorus, if you take, it penetrates roots deep into the soil to absorb the nutrients quickly. Growth of roots depends upon the phosphorus availability. Then potassium, the resistance towards the pests, pest resistance, increase the quantity of smell, color and the taste of the fruits depends upon the availability of potassium. Okay. So, nitrogen is required for the formation of new leaves. If the more leaves are there, new leaves, then the photosynthesis process takes place and the plant will grow healthy. Okay. To avoid the nutrient deficiency in the soil, the farmers cultivate alternate crops. A farmer cultivates sugarcane in his land for the last 5 years. Another farmer cultivates sugarcane in the first year and soya bean in the second year and sugarcane in the third year. Okay, these two. First farmer is not educated, but the second farmer he is educated. So, he is cultivating the sugarcane in the first year and the soya bean plant in the second year, and again sugarcane in the third year, means alternation of the crops. In which case do you think has the land lost most of its nutrients? In the first case, obviously in the first case, the farmer who cultivated sugarcane crop from the past 5 years. Okay. So, crop rotation is the process in which the crop is followed by another crop on an agricultural field. Okay. So, some best combinations of crop rotations are given here. So, let us observe. So, after cultivation of paddy crop, black gram or groundnut has to be grown and followed by again paddy again for the cycle to continue, means paddy followed by black gram or groundnut, again paddy, like that. Okay. After cultivation of tobacco, mirchi has to be grown, okay, chili plants, okay, grown for the cycle to go on. Then after cultivation of red gram, maize or paddy has to be grown for the cycle to go on. So, what is the benefit of crop rotation? The crop rotation has the benefit that the deficiency of various nutrients, okay, which results in the various physiological disorders in the plants. The nutrient deficiency means either nitrogen or phosphorus or potassium, their deficiency can be replenished by growing these leguminous crops as an alternate crop. Okay. When the cereals are cultivated, more nutrients are utilized. So, if legumes are grown in the soil, so less nutrients are utilized. Okay. So, retaining the nutrients are retained in the soil when we grow the leguminous crops. Okay. So, not only this, they synthesize some nutrients. These leguminous crops they contain some bacteria in the roots of those crop plants. Okay. For example, rhizobium bacteria present in the groundnut root nodules of groundnut. Okay. It will add the nitrogen, it increase the nitrogen content in the soil. So, do you find any crop rotation methods in your village? You think about it, and what are they? Discuss in the class. So, ask your village elders and collect the information about it. Okay. Now, come to cultivating mixed crops. Okay, how to cultivate the mixed crop? Have you ever seen two types of crops in the same field? Definitely, you might have seen. Okay, you mention which crops are grown in this way. What are the uses of cultivating mixed crops? Discuss in groups and display your writings in your classroom. Okay. Field survey, whenever you go to village. So, as a part of the lesson, the knowledge which you have gained in the class, challenges in improving agriculture products. Okay, you can prepare a project, prepare a report, put it on the paper and come to the class. Let us discuss with your friends and the teacher. Okay, if more than one crop is cultivated in the same field, then it is called as a mixed crop. What is a mixed crop? If more than one crop is cultivated, growing one crop is a routine, but cultivating more than one crop in the same field, it is called as a mixed crop. Because of mixed crop cultivation, the soil becomes fertile. The nutrients which are used by one crop will be regained by cultivating another crop. Okay, that is the advantage of mixed crop. So, which crops can be cultivated as mixed crop? This is also very important. So, observe the following: soya grown along with pea, soya bean grown along with the pea grown along with green gram, corn grown along with the black gram, minimulu, groundnut grown along with the sunflower, maize grown along with red gram, sorghum grown along with the pea, cotton grown along with the groundnut. Okay. So, these are called mixed crops. So, growing a mixed crop, the double benefits the farmer going to get. If one crop less yield, another crop will compensate. Okay. So, cabbage in the groundnut, cabbage and groundnut mixed crop, this is another combination. Here red gram in haldi, haldi means turmeric. Okay. Red soils. So, generally pulses and cereals are grown as mixed crops. Pulses and cereals. Cereals means food crops. Pulses means these the crops which require less water. The cereals require more water. The short term crops, they are called rabi crops, grown in long term crops. In the fruit growing fields like lemon, pomegranate, papaya, etc., can be grown as an alternates. The pulses like red gram, kandulu, black gram, green gram, etc., are cultivated as a mixed crop along with the citrus crops. Okay. Next is betel. Betel means tamalapaku. A mixed crop? Yes. How can you justify your answer? Can you name some leguminous crops? Okay. So, definitely if a farmer depending on only single crop, the yield may be influenced by several things. Okay. Intercropping, mixed cropping, the farmer can get insurance benefits by adopting this practice, as it minimizes the risk of complete failure of crops from a pest or a disease. The farmer can reap benefits from the crop grown successfully even if other crop fails. That is the advantage of mixed cropping. Okay, example, the crops that can be like wheat and gram, wheat and mustard, groundnut and sunflower, these are all mixed croppings. Okay. Intercropping is also there. What is intercropping? Intercropping means to ensure the maximum utilization of the nutrients supplied. Furthermore, it also prevents the spreading of the pests and diseases from the infected species to the rest of the plants species belonging to the same crop in the field. So, that is why this intercropping method. What is intercropping means? Growing two or more crops simultaneously on the same field in a definite pattern to increase the productivity per unit area. Unlike mixed cropping, seeds are not combined before sowing. Okay. In the mixed cropping, the seeds are combined. Okay. Let us discuss this mixed cropping. Leguminous crops are usually have many small nodules on their roots. Several different kinds of bacteria can live in these nodules. So, such bacteria, example Rhizobium bacteria. Okay. So, it can be beneficial, useful bacteria, free living bacteria. Okay, it takes nutrients from the roots of the leguminous plant, that is groundnut, and it adds the nitrogen to the soil. Okay. So, this is the advantage of growing the leguminous crops. So, here you can see the betel crop. So, it requires some support. Okay. The bamboo trees, some forest areas, these betel leaves can be grown as a mixed crop. Okay. Next, so these bacteria absorb the nitrogen from the air and convert it into a form that can be used by the plant. This is called nitrogen fixation. So, ask your teacher about the names of nitrogen fixing bacteria. The bacteria such as Azotobacter, Nitrobacter, okay, Rhizobium, and even Aspergillus. Okay, certain bacteria are there. They are free living bacteria which are present in the soil. They add nitrogen to the soil. So, you could uproot a soya bean plant or a Bengal gram plant, okay, to see the nodules on their roots. This Bengal gram, soya bean, they are all also belongs to Leguminaceae family, means groundnut family. The root nodules in the leguminous plants. The microorganisms in the nodules use some of the nitrogen for their own purpose, but some nitrogen is used by the leguminous plants itself, but after the crop is harvested, the roots remain in the soil. So, the soil gets some nitrogen in this way. Okay. So, growing of these leguminous crops alternating with cereals is a good practice. Okay. In the crop rotation method, we can use these leguminous plants, and even in the mixed cropping also we can use these leguminous plants. Okay. I hope you followed, children. Read the textbook. Thank you for watching our video. Please subscribe our channel and press the bell icon for receiving latest updates.